What double standard are you tired of? Your boss getting angry if you're a couple minutes late, but then expects you to have no problem regularly staying on 2+ hours after your shift is meant to end. I don't have a problem with staying and doing overtime, but when it starts to be a drama every time I want to leave a bit early with those tens to hundreds of saved up OT hours, you can frick right off. If that's how we play, then OT is over and done with. Man, when I worked at Steak and Shake when I was 19, I didn't drive, and I told them that the last bus left at 11:30 p.m., and yet I was constantly made to stay and miss my bus. I had to wait all night a few times because I couldn't get a ride, till like 6 in the morning. Some businesses just don't care. Why is dental insurance different from health insurance? Aren't teeth part of my overall health? What the hell? Because teeth are luxury bones. Duh. Luxury bones, lol. I'm starting to use this one. To borrow from Matt Haig, people being okay with mental illness until someone shows symptoms of one. 100%. People like to talk about being cool with it, act all understanding, and then get super hostile if someone with untreated mental illness shows up. They don't mind it when they can't see it, but can't handle it when you actually see it in action. If anyone is feeling depressed, please reach out to me, so I can encourage you to cut that crap out. COVID restrictions applying to regular people but not celebrities or politicians. My favorite was UK Health Minister carrying on an affair with his assistant whilst going on TV and telling us not to hug our loved ones. Sounds like he wasn't hugging his loved ones either. Consumers are expected to curb their use of their plastic waste and carbon by corporations and regulatory bodies alike, while Nestle will destroy a natural habitat to make bottled water in plastic bottles and dump the waste into your grandma's urn if it's affordable. Kurzgesagt made a great video on that the other day. They talk about how consumers reducing their carbon footprint is not the solution by a light year. But then they made the most important point at the end that it seems everyone forgets. Consumers and voters showing preference for eco-friendly alternatives generates the political and economic drive to shift to a better option. People who care about meat alternatives gaining widespread adoption, buying those products in their infancy, are the reason you can buy Beyond Meat at Target. Similar for things like plastic bag bans, politicians would never consider a ban if they didn't think they had the will of the people backing them. Celebrities lecturing about climate change when they have the carbon footprint of a small town. Jason Momoa's GQ interview recently made me so mad with this. He kept talking about how plastic was destroying the ocean, and then repeatedly talked about how much stuff he traveled with, instruments, motorbikes, etc. This is the guy with his own line of bottled water. I saw a promo for it, and he said something like, "It's just bottled water, but I feel good about it, and my retinas detached from my involuntary rolling." Entry-level jobs that require experience. They think it weeds out the ones with no experience, but it just gives them candidates who are prepared to exaggerate or lie. It's also concerning how often I see stuff like 5 years experience with this thing that came out like a year or two ago on the job requirements. How it's perfectly okay for a potential employer to ask your salary expectations even before an interview, but a candidate asking what the job pays is somehow a red flag for HR or a big no-no. Like, if all the employer cares about is what I will cost them before learning anything else about me, then I should be able to ask too. But no, I'm branded as only caring about money. And you don't, corporate prick? Seriously, what do they expect from us? We, or at least I, wouldn't work if not for the money. Not because it's fun or we care about the company or want to make friends or whatever, it's to make money, so it should be more normal to ask about it. I'm job hunting at the moment, and it's just a waste of everyone's time and money. Once I get a final interview, if they either won't tell me or haven't told me, and it's not enough money, then there's no way I'm accepting the job. They look shocked when I tell them. Almost every company I've had interviews with offering a competitive salary seem like terrible companies full of aggressive middle management with completely unreal expectations of their staff. I've stopped applying for them. My manager at work not paying for her drinks but not allowing staff to even get staff discounts for theirs? If that's just a manager and not the owner, I bet the owner would like to hear about it. And if it is the owner, that's fine to me. If it's the owner, it comes out of their pockets regardless. Parenting double standards. The gender of the parent does not make the parent. Dads are not babysitting their children, they are parenting. This. Also, I've had to fight this in the kindergarten my child goes to, because all information, news, calls go only to my wife's phone, even though for the past few years, I've been the one who has brought and picked up the kid every day. Wife is working long days, but I'm remotely. OMG, this is an ongoing battle at my kid's school. I, the mom, work in an office. I cannot leave in the middle of the day to do things because my job is very busy, and I have to be here to do it for privacy reasons. My husband, the dad, is a full-time student right now. But it's all still online. While, yes, he is very, very busy with his classes and homework, he is still the parent who does all drop-offs, pickups, parent-teacher meetings, class parent days, all of it. I obviously help when I can, but he is the one who does most of it. The school will still call me if a kid is sick or forgot their lunch or anything happens. The same conversation happens every time. Can you please call their dad? I'm at work and unable to leave, but he is the first parent to contact. They always respond with, well, we like to call the mom just in case parents didn't fill out the paperwork correctly. Are you kidding me? My husband is not my roommate. He is their parent. Customers being able to verbally and sometimes physically assault workers while the worker just has to stand there and take it, or they'll be fired. One time, at a local grocery store, a clerk straight up told a shouty guy to frick off. Saw the same clerk a week later, was pretty impressed. I once told an impatient prick to frick off while working at a retail pharmacy for being too entitled to wait in line. The other customers took my side real quick, thankfully. I also got praise from the store manager, but it's a long story. Small town politics helps sometimes for better and for worse. My principal taking days to read and reply to my emails, if ever, versus me being told at 8 in the morning that I should have known something because he sent me an email at 10 in the evening the night before. Reminds me of a power-tripping boss. They know they're being unreasonable. They just enjoy the power trip they get by making you feel like you're incompetent. Don't let it bother you too much. It's just an evil little mind game narcissists love to play. I know that. In fact, I genuinely believe he's sincerely incompetent in keeping up with his inbox. It just bothers me because while bad management hurts profits in a business, in a school it hurts the quality of the service, and, in the end, the kids. It's so frustrating. After swim practice when I was 11, my friends pushed me out of the shower room and held the door closed when a bunch of older ladies were getting together for water aerobics. One of them was my teacher. They laughed and I just stood there naked pushing on a door. Nobody got in trouble. If they pushed a girl naked out of the locker room and held the door, it'd be on the news. Things happened to me in locker rooms and I got in trouble for speaking about it. You spoke to people who would be at a loss or disadvantage if the news broke. Speak to a lawyer, not to anyone who could be held liable, like the owner of the building or coaches or teachers. Me, a non-smoker, being told off for being 5 minutes late to work, while smokers spend 30 minutes at least a day on smoke breaks. I just wander off and have a cup of tea every time the smokers head off on a break. My boss did comment, so I told him I was addicted to caffeine, so had to. He didn't have an answer to that. Old coworker of mine started going out for apple breaks when the smokers would go out. He'd go out and eat an apple for the same amount of time the smokers would take to finish up. Basic laws not applying to people with money or power. I thought the US was based on an idea that nobody was above the law. Punished by a fine is legal for a price, and that's if they even get fined. If the penalty for breaking the law is a fine, then that law only exists for the lower class. People that say, don't worry about what other people think, be yourself. But make judgments about people based on behavior they don't understand. If you don't understand something, ask about it. Learn about it. Talk about it to gain an understanding. I wish more value was placed on learning and understanding people's intentions versus what you see on the surface. And don't say things unless you really mean them. I agree, but not everybody is okay with questions. I think that's a big part of the problem. Some people get easily offended by things. They expect everyone to have knowledge about all cultures, sexual orientation, handicaps, religions. Doesn't matter. Some people get very upset. So I've stopped asking questions unless I know the person extremely well and know that they won't be offended. A good rule of thumb I use is to ask about it if it's a choice, hobbies, music, etc., and make a mental note to Google it if it's intrinsic, religion, culture, etc. People are usually happy to talk about fun stuff, so no base knowledge is needed. Bigger topics are easier to broach if you already know at least a little bit about it. What double standard am I not tired of? Hey, you should mail that a post. What if he female that a post instead? I'm broke. Screw it, you get a job. I'm 22 million in debt, but it's okay. The heck? I once heard this: owe the bank 10 grand, then you have a problem. Owe the bank 10 million, then the bank has a problem. If you owe the bank $100, it's your problem. If you owe the bank 100 million, that's the bank's problem. J. Paul Getty. Defending yourself. The fact that someone can be punished for defending themselves when no one else would, in my experience worse, is bullcrap to me. Example: a former bullied kid that punched back and got screwed. Happened to my boyfriend several times in school. He got jumped, but when he hit back, he got in trouble. Insanity. In my case, I got beaten up, didn't retaliate at all. Bully had rich parents who supported the school, so I was the one who got in trouble as I allegedly swore and instigated it, meaning him beating the crap out of me was apparently self-defense. Star student athletes are nearly untouchable. If they make the school look good, the school will almost never take action against them, as evidenced by the fact that at my college, several of the football stars would literally just park wherever they wanted and never get towed or ticketed. I'm not talking about things like parking in the faculty lot or where you don't have a pass. I'm talking things like parking on the sidewalk in front of the student union or driving over a curb and 20 feet of grass to get there. Our star football player at my school didn't get expelled for having marijuana on campus. He didn't even get a blemish on his record because they didn't want to ruin his future. He went to college on a full-ride sports scholarship, and then got kicked out for drinking and partying too much and missing practice before he even finished his freshman year. Struggled with social interactions growing up. Half of my life was people telling me not to take things so personally. The other half was being told to conduct myself a certain way so I don't upset people. The old just be yourself. Okay, not like that. My dog can crap in the backyard all he wants, but I do it one time and my wife loses her mind. Frick dogs, they get away with everything. The dog can hump the neighbor and nothing happens but some yelling. If I do it, suddenly the authorities need to be involved. Pretty much everything about celebrities. That stupid Cinderella flash mob where they blocked LA traffic was the kind of thing that they only got away with because they're celebrities. That's really just James Corden being an asshole as usual. He definitely got permits and everything. Also, James Corden advocating for paying late-night writers less money, just a crappy person. A lot of celebrities don't even live in LA anymore anyway. A lot of people live in Atlanta, the biggest filming spot now, or NYC. They're spreading around more due to the internet partially. I have to be exactly on time for an appointment or risk a fine and no appointment. Yet a doctor can make you wait hours, sometimes without even a thank you for waiting or sorry about the wait. Especially when you are the first damn appointment of the day. Yes, this happened to me recently and I'm like, how the frick can you be running late when I'm literally the first patient? Anything wears the epitome of George Orwell's rules for thee but not for me, e.g. COVID restrictions but not for politicians, bosses not following their own rules, police getting away with bending certain laws, etc. This, a whole Met Gala took place while the world battles a pandemic. Politicians who come up with dumb to asinine laws and vigorously enforce them upon all of the regular citizens, but somehow find ways to exempt themselves from being subject to the same obligations to keep and follow them as we are. Rules for thee but not for me, as it applies to every facet of US politics, from insider trading to nepotism to tax dodging and beyond. I am so done with the ruling class. There are a lot of double standards between the genders that need to die, many of which have been touched on in this thread. but I'll share one from quite literally a few days ago. I'm a male and have a pretty good-sized beard. At a social gathering the other day, a woman complimented it and then asked, "Do you ever let people stroke it?" I replied that I did not, but then another woman spoke up with, "Well, why not? Isn't it flattering? Wouldn't you like the attention?" Not at all hostile, just blatantly, why not? To that I replied, "How would you feel if someone walked up to you and said, 'Oh, I love your hair, can I run my fingers through it?' while miming making a stroking motion?" She recoiled and said, "Of course not, that's super creepy," followed almost a second later by a round-eyed, "Oh." Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't want someone doing it to you, then why would you think it's okay for you to do it to someone else? Hey, at least she realized what she actually said. That part is skipped by a lot of people. I'm a teacher and called my wife smoking hot at a football game. My principal reprimanded me for it. I told the principal my wife calls me her smoking hot hubby to her class sometimes. She said it's different because it's perceived different when a girl says it. She's just jealous she doesn't have a smoking hot hubby telling her she's smoking hot. Good for you for complimenting your wife. My husband always does this, and I him, and it makes me feel so good. When companies say they are family-friendly but don't want you to work from home or help with childcare, mine's championing work-life balance for everyone in the country, while also dragging us back into the office for no frickin' reason. Working from home saves me an entire workday worth of commute each week. Leave me be. Corporations can take advantage of employees, but employees can't take advantage of corporations. The asymmetry of power drives me nuts. We can get fired at any moment, but are expected to give a 2 weeks notice. They worry about clock theft, but want us to just dismiss those 15 minutes after the clock every day, no lunch breaks, etc. I'm so tired of it. Tired of feeling like I owe my life to a company who would boot me out the door at a moment's notice. What's the point? The Tinder attitude of impress me and I have standards. Be funny, don't be boring. Meanwhile, the person is boring. Entertain me. Sorry I haven't graduated from clown college yet. Billionaires calling poor people lazy. I'm guilty of this one myself. I hate YouTube ads to death, but I am still watching the videos using their platform, and I am not willing to pay $10 a month, and I understand they need to somehow get compensated for all the work. The one that kills me is Hulu. I'm paying a monthly subscription, and I have to sit through ads. Nope, I refuse to watch it. But others in my household insist. So I pay for that stupid subscription and they watch it, but I refuse. I know that it makes no difference to Hulu, but if we're sitting down for a family movie night or something, I refuse to watch anything on the Hulu platform. I hate them so much for putting ads on a subscription service. I agree, but Hulu does offer an ad-free subscription for a few bucks more a month. In my opinion, they should just get rid of the ad-supported subscription tier and make it free with ads or paid with no ads. Accountability for rich people versus everyone else. As a male, I cannot take my son to a playground without getting a few strange looks. It's annoying. Is that a real thing? I do it and no one ever bats an eye. Might be an American thing. I always get, "Oh, so you're babysitting today?" I always respond, "No, I'm their father every day." People who scream about personal freedoms while voting for someone to limit someone's personal freedoms. Both sides are guilty of this. It's not really a double standard as much as it is a disagreement on what should be a freedom. What I'm saying is if someone is going on TV demanding their constituents be left alone, don't go back inside and try to limit someone else. Men being unable to be good parents, guardians, caretakers, and the stigma of being a house husband. "Oh, letting mommy take a break today? Honey, where's your parents? Oh my god, stay away, you creep! That's my kid." Making the wife do all the work. Why don't you get a job? I tell people on a regular basis that I want to be a stay-at-home dad, but most of the people I tell that know me and know I'm good with kids. I know there's a lot of nuance, but the fact that crimes committed by the poor, like stealing someone's property, are relatively easy to prove and pursue, while crimes committed by the wealthy, like say wage theft, go almost entirely unpunished and are conveniently written in ways that make it fairly difficult to pursue. For a lot of crimes, as long as a rich guy doesn't screw up and say he's committing the crime, then it can't be proven. Really, just in general, the ability to buy your way out of the criminal justice system in America if you have money, versus being utterly crushed if you don't. It's easier for a rich guilty man to go free than a poor innocent one. Prosecutors nowadays end over 90% of their cases as a plea deal because if you're poor, the cost of waiting for justice can crush you. Sitting in jail for a month would destroy like half of America. You'd be evicted and jobless. Meanwhile, if you're rich, you can bail out and take your time. You aren't forced to take a deal just to feed your family. The notion that wives aren't abusive and that fathers are the inferior parent. Men being able to go topless but women can't. I'll support any woman that decides to go topless. You could even say I'm a big fan of the concept. I'm a girl, but I am tired of people treating dads as less than moms. Dads can be 100% better than moms, but no one will care because no mother would hurt their kids. In Canada, you are able to walk down the street freely while smoking weed. Why is it the second I'm walking down the street with a drink in my hand, that is illegal? When I traveled and arrived in Budapest, I was shocked to see that you can drink in public. Personally, if littering wasn't an issue, I see no reason why it should stay illegal. The far left. Gender roles are archaic. Also the far left. If you don't associate with your gender roles, you might be trans. It's more like, we're the party of science. Also, men can give birth. The far left leverages semantics far too much to try and win arguments. Another one from the semantics runbook. Antifa burned down a police station? How can an idea burn anything down? Authority figures, whether bosses or managers or cops, who hold you to the strictest word of the law, but they do whatever they want. Had a manager today come in at 8 when he hammered that everyone has to be in by 6:30, by fire or thunder. How does someone making $30,000 a year pay more taxes than a corporation making billions? Because they don't. A single person making $30K a year would pay around $1,900 in taxes without anything other than the standard deduction 12% bracket, amounting to roughly 6.3% of their income. For example, Amazon paid $2.863 billion in taxes in 2020. That's 13.4% of their net income of $21.33 billion. Thanks for watching. Be sure to leave a like, and for a fun challenge, make sure in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you subscribe now. Be sure to watch another video.